Hello automators, today I'm going to introduce you to new smart products that were delivered to our home recently. You're going to discover what these products are and what they're all about and how I'm finding my first week with them. Let's give her. One of the most exciting things that's come into my home is that LG TV behind me. As a smart product, I didn't really understand LG's game until that came in. Let me explain what I mean. You think of Apple, they're trying to sell you an iPhone and an iPad and everything Apple. And you think of Samsung, they're doing the same thing with their Galaxy phones. Well, LG is just trying to sell you a TV. Do they want to sell you more appliances? Absolutely. But what this means for this is it's completely agnostic. I can use it with Google Home and Amazon. I have a Matter hub in that TV. I can AirPlay to that TV. I can screen mirror through YouTube. Everything is available from a content standpoint. I'm not missing any apps here or there. They're all on WebOS. One other neat thing about this television is the control you get in Homey. And this is one of my dashboards. I can just simply tap the volume up button. And of course, I can do things like set the volume on mass here. So I can move it up to 70. There you go. And you can see how fast that response is. It's fantastic. Now, I can also create automations in this system to run the different applications that I have, as well as change inputs. So all of that is contained inside of here. So it's just a fantastic device to automate with. And I'm so excited to continue automating with that. I can bring up any service I'd like. I can bring up messages on it based on other automations around my home. So the opportunities are endless. Some other really neat things about this TV, like I can use NVIDIA's GeForce Now on it, play games on that television without a subscription, and they're cloud-based games. Plus I can connect controllers and keyboards and mice, and the remote itself has a pointer on it. So there's a number of different ways that I can control everything on this TV. I've also been able to remote into my PC downstairs and do work up here. I can use things like Microsoft 360 if I want to too, and Google Docs. Again, it's agnostic, so I'm not trapped in a box. And I love that from this television on top of what is just an incredible looking TV. The most exciting thing I've had in my place in a long time. This I have been waiting for some time. These are called Nanoleaf Blocks. There's quite a bit of interesting things that you can do with these blocks. And the reason I've been waiting for them is right there. I'm finally ready to get these set up and stuck to my wall, and we can start to display things. They come with pegboards, they come with shelves. So I think this is one of the ways that, you know, Nanoleaf is still innovating. Install squares first. You install squares first. So this is the panel. And there's little connectors in the back here and the mounting mechanisms. These things aren't cheap. Don't get me wrong. And then this one at the bottom, well, it looks a little different, doesn't it? And this is what I mean. You got pegboard. That might get a lot of you very excited. You think, okay, now it's not just a lighting product, but it's actually a shelf. And inside of this one, the panels are going to get put on the wall. And then you also have shelving units. Then we have an adapter. That's not a small adapter. Quite a bit of cable though. And there's your connector into whatever your first panel is. Now this is a 42 watt adapter. I imagine you're going to be able to put a lot of squares on a single one. Now I don't know what these are. Yeah, right? There you go. Then I've got all my mounting hardware. There's a couple of cable clips in here, okay? And there's white and gray anchor mounts of different sizes. And then there's the screws themselves, but these screws have a really different head to them here. Very small Phillips. Looks like 6 screws. So a little bit of a different package here in terms of the setup. There's a little controller. Looks like, first of all, the controller has my Apple HomeKit symbol on it. This is the Nanoleaf Blocks controller, and there are buttons on there. Nice little control buttons. So that's a great little feature from them. Power, looks like brightness, changing effects, and there's a music synchronization. Really like that, and that's going to connect into the back of one of these panels. And now I have a ton of stickers. Whoa. 16, 18 stickers. And a little guy. Now these right here, I think these are going to be your connectors between the panels. You get 4 of them, which makes sense. I got 4 panels. That's everything that I think we're getting. Might be one other thing in here. Oh, there is. This looks like a cover of some kind. Anything else? Hello? Now those Nanoleaf blocks were initially a pretty big struggle to get working on my Wi-Fi network. Like it just keeps screwing up. Which is why I waited so long to talk about them. I don't like showing you guys unless it's working for me. Now I've gone through some troubleshooting. I've worked with Nanoleaf support team to make sure everything was going to work right for you guys if you're interested in a product like that. Now everything seems good to me today, but it was a little finicky, and it's things like this that aren't necessarily going to make it into every one of these videos. So I'd love it if you guys would tell us and other automators about your experiences in the comments below. And of course, because these aren't a full review, I'm not going to be able to tell you everything about all these things. So go ahead, ask me down there if you have any questions. But let's unbox a couple of products from a maker we really haven't shown on the channel before. I'm here today with the Levoit Sprout air purifier. Now this is a lineup kind of intended for the little Sprout in your life. Cute stuff, actually. They're really branding this out well for those of you who have kids. Now, Levoit is pretty well versed in making air purifiers. Like, this is one of the things that they do. So I'm expecting this little unit to be able to give us quite a bit. Yeah. Can I turn the bottom? Yeah. There you go. So the bottom, of course, they got the little rubberized feet there, but you twist that and you can get to your little filter here. Now I can tell you immediately, this is a 3-stage filter. They call it stage 1. This is the pre-filter, and you will sometimes find things along the outside of this part of the filter. Stage 2 really is a HEPA, true HEPA 13 filter, and that's going to take things out of the air down to a 0.1 to 0.3 micron size of particle, things like smoke out of the air. And lastly, you have what's called an activated carbon filter inside of there. So it's going to take things like smells out of the air. Oh, now I think I did that upside down. I gave you the little handle for when you put that in there. Kind of a nice idea, actually. I haven't seen a lot of thoughts like that. Oh, there's a little light and sounds. What? I didn't know that was there. Okay, that's kind of a fun one. I already have what's called the VE Sync app. And now we're searching for devices. So I'm just going to add this. It's found it right here. It's using Bluetooth between my phone and the unit itself. And then there's a whole interface once you press it. There's a really interesting interface here. And I just had to scroll over to the side from, you can see just the normal interface for air quality. But this is a really great little explainer of what an air purifier like this is doing for you. And when you couple that with the great sensors and the fact that it's able to get really small particulate out of the air and then those VOCs, that's really excellent. I do love the interface on the top of this unit, and I love how silent it can be while purifying the air. Now, you're gonna have to make sure that you're in a space that you can purify with this. These have maximum limits for the room size that they can purify. I will tell you that in general, if this is not kind of close to your kid and it's in this auto mode, it's probably not purifying all the air around the room because it's not driving that air around the room. So you can use something like a fan to kind of push the air a little bit. But if you turn up the fan speed, or it needs to purify more of the air around the room, it can do that. If you leave it in auto mode, it's going to do that. And of course, you can just bring up the fan speed. So I'm absolutely excited to have this one in my home because of that great interface, the little night light, and actually it just turned off, so it has tip over, fail safe, it has good protection on it. You guys can check out the links down below in the description to pick one of these up. This is an evaporative humidifier, but it's a smart one. And it looks like you get a couple of interesting things in this box, so I'm gonna show you today. Now, this little device is a remote humidity monitor. So I'm gonna pull the battery tab. Now, it's a little difficult to get that standing just right, but it does angle up nicely to you once you do. What a cute little adapter you get. Output of 24 volt at 1.5 amps. Oh, okay. Woo. This part is not dishwasher safe. Does that mean this is? I think this is. That's kind of neat. Okay. You know, just on this piece, they've got a good guard on the only part that's really moving in here. There's a little fan. So clearly marketed towards parents with small children. Press here. What am I pressing here for? Oh, there's two. Oh. Look at this, whole thing comes apart. There's like 10 parts. Now there's also a filter here. And this looks fairly easy to open up. Let me just press the little buttons. It wasn't that hard. I made it look harder.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
And look, there's another filter. So I think the only thing I'm not in love with from a design perspective, if your kid pushes, if this is for babies, that comes out. So I don't love that aspect. I don't have any water in there, but it's running. Let me see. And it just shut itself off, obviously, because there's no water in there. So why don't we go get some water in there? Now, I will tell you, this tank, pretty big, okay? I didn't expect that much water to go into it. There is a max fill line on it, but you know, I was sitting there a long time and I went, okay, this is a huge tank. I don't need that for this. And this sensor, now that I have this powered on, it actually has an indicator on this side right here. And that indicator saying that it is connected. Now it does read both the temperature and the humidity in the room. Now that I'm into the app, we can see that the sensor is connected. We can see the readings off of that sensor, and we can turn on and off the unit. And then we get little animations here. You got quite a bit of airflow here. Like, you're not gonna be blown away by this. You can see my hair's not blowing back. Now, something that might be exciting to you or might not be, but there is a light on this. And it does look like you can control the color temperature, or you can have it be a breathing light. And you can set the period to that breathing light. So I just set it to 10 seconds. You're also getting the two filters and their expected life, or their remaining life. So that's very nice. You can go in there and you can actually buy those filters directly through this app. I'm gonna put it into a sleep mode. We can, within sleep mode, leave it at a target humidity. So we have the manual, we have the auto mode, we have this sleep mode right here. There's actually a fourth mode, and it's called dry mode. Now that's going to dry the filter in here. You know, you want that filter to remain dry or to be dry. Couple of things I want to tell you after having used this for a few hours. There's not a lot of water dripping off that. There's like one little drip. The other thing that I think is really great are the automated settings that are going to keep the wick filter clean or at least dry and without mold on it. That's going to extend the life of this. So from an overall standpoint, I really like this. Now, from the voice assistant control standpoint, you know, I think those options are kind of secondary. This is going to give you enough 9 times out of 10, but I'm sure there's a few extra things you can do with those other apps. If you're wondering what this does with Google or Amazon, go ahead, ask me in the comments below. I'll let you know what I found. The Miros presence sensor has been an interesting story. This one was sitting in the box for a while because early reviews of this device were not really positive. There's lots of complaints about false alerts, so I just leave things like that to the side till I hear better things. And I have found some redeeming things. That was 2 automations from 2 platforms. It's not just a presence sensor with radar at 24 gigahertz. It also has a light sensor and a PIR motion sensor. Now, the motion sensor comes with a little cover to hopefully ignore your pet running around your home, although it seems to just fall off for me. Now, both the light sensor and presence detection are available with Matter, which means I've been able to bring this sensor into many apps. Now, one little note there. Not every app has the light sensor working properly in it. There are good settings inside of the app for managing the device, but let me caveat that and say you're not going to be able to manage every little detail. This is an effort to balance your effort. So most of the settings, they do the work for you and they aren't really detailed. And I think Miros did a fairly good job of hitting the mark on complexity versus ease. But those redeeming things for me kind of fall off the cliff when we look at this design. The bugs in the setup process and also the general use of this sensor. The mount is nice because you can place it on a table, you can cover up most of the cable, but there's no screw option for the mount. There are some nice cable clips and 3M sticky tape is used for all of the mounting. You have to put this sensor between 1.2 and 1.5 meters up, or at least that's what Miros suggests in the setup. That's putting it a bit lower than some of the other sensors I've worked with, and that kind of means it ends up at eye height for a lot of people. But just the cable itself, it bugs me as we're starting to see the first presence sensors come out powered by battery. All of this design constraint meant I put it on a counter in my kitchen. I've run into a few interference moments, but the most poignant of all of those was when I was doing the initial configuration and it kept failing as I tried to run through what's called space learning. Like, this is an example. I'm nowhere near the kitchen. Why does it think anyone's in there? I don't know. I learned I couldn't put this in the original location I had it stated for. Furnace vents and smart lights seemed to affect it, and I couldn't get through the setup process until space learning was completed. But for all of you, this price is pretty good. And I think maybe just go into this one with the expectation of it maybe not working out and you having to return it. That's maybe worth it when you're talking about the price of this as a mattified, what the? For a Matter certified presence sensor. All the links to all the products you saw today in our video are in the description below. Check those out if you're interested in anything you saw today. Otherwise, you'll want to see our video where we're talking about the very best smart tech coming in 2025. We've compiled everything that's going to be released this year and brought it to you in a quick video right there. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.